It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the PWHPA hockey player Chelsey Goldberg. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I'm stoked.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to play professional hockey?
Yeah, so I actually had no idea that it was in my deck of cards. So I had actually been through quite a difficult journey playing hockey. I broke both my legs playing. I was out for 4 years at a time. So at that point, mentally and physically, I thought I was done, burnt out. Didn't really want to lace the skates up anymore. And then Northeastern's unique. It's a 5-year school, a 5-year program. So come my 5th year of Northeastern, I actually turned down a red shirt from one of my injuries to just be a college student without hockey. And while it was one of the best experiences of my life, just living the college student life instead of being that athlete on campus, I realized that I really missed that sense of family, the sense of competition, the sense of training for something greater than myself. And that was being a part of a team and playing hockey again. So at that point, I feel like the universe kind of just worked in my favor and came back to me. And I got a call from a couple of players that played in the CWHL and the Boston Blades, and from a couple of the coaches from that year saying, hey, we'd love to have you come play for the Blades. If you want to consider playing again, here we are, type of thing. And so I really thought about it. And at that point in time, I was literally just telling myself how much I missed the sense of family, the sense of competition again, etc. So it kind of felt like it was all falling into place. And then that same exact year, I was fortunate enough to be drafted into the CWHL, 5th or 6th overall, to the Boston Blades. So like I said, I think it just all kind of fell into my lap, and the universe was working in my favor at that point.
What was your college time like, of course, playing collegiately?
It was one of the best experiences playing wise, but also for my personal growth outside the sport. So I would say my college years were a few of the best years of my life. Playing wise, I've gone through a lot. Like I mentioned previously, I've broken a few bones now. I was out for quite some time at a time. And so it was definitely a mental battle to overcome those injuries and adversity and then get back into competing shape and then get back on the ice for kind of everything to happen again. So mentally, it made me stronger. Physically, it made me stronger. And for that, I don't take back or regret anything that happened to me, and I would do it all the same again.
What was it like putting on the Northeastern jersey?
Oh, it was the best experience. I mean, that's what I've been working for. I laced up the skates a little bit late, I would say, being from Southern California. I didn't get into hockey until I was about 10 or 11 years old. I think 12 years old on the ice. I started playing roller hockey at 10 years old. So for me, I didn't really know much about the college process until I started getting connected with coaches and other players that kind of supported me and told me, you know what, you can do this. You can pursue the college game and play at that level. So when that kind of came into mind and I was training for, a college scholarship, and then I received a scholarship to play at Northeastern, at that point I was like, okay, my hard work is finally paying off. So then when I finally stepped onto Northeastern's campus and I was able to put that jersey on for the first time, it felt like it was full circle, and everything that I had been working for and training for was finally here. So at that point in time, it was one of the coolest experiences that I could have been a part of.
What was it like getting drafted to the CWHL?
Also another really cool experience. Again, I had no idea that was in my deck of cards, right? So when I received a couple of phone calls from the players and then from the coaches of the Boston Blades, it was obviously getting me really excited. But then when I was finally in Toronto at the draft, I had no idea what draft pick I was going to be. But going, I think 6th overall it was, I was shocked myself. And again, it was really cool to be a part of the CWHL history for that season. So again, a completely new experience to me, but also one that I'll never forget.
What was it like, obviously, when you got drafted to the Boston Blades? What was it like putting on that jersey and signing your contract?
For me, it kind of felt like, so I already completed my college career and lived out that dream. So for me, it felt like I was living in another dream of mine that I didn't really even know I was going to experience. So for me, it was kind of, I had to really soak it in, let it sink in that this was actually happening. So when I was signing that contract, I was like, oh, wow, this is the next step. And I made it to that professional level. And again, all my hard work is paying off. And I was fortunate enough to play with and against some of the best players in the world. And I'm still fortunate enough to be playing with and against some of the best players in the world. So for that, it's a complete honor.
What was it like getting to play with players like Kayle Ferguson whenever you were with the Boston Blades?
So Kayle and I actually played against each other when I was at Northeastern. She was at BU, and she, to this day, is one of the best defensemen that I know. Just a very solid player overall. And I was never actually on the Boston Blades with her, but as an opponent and a big rival of her when I was at Northeastern and she was at BU, I have nothing but respect for her. And it's amazing to see what she's still doing playing in the NWHL.
Of course, what was it like playing with the Bulletins in the CWHL?
I'm sorry, say that again one more time.
What was it like playing with the Blades in the CWHL?
Incredible. I mean, like I said previously, at that point in time, I had experienced the collegiate Division I level of play. So in that period, that was the best talent that I was playing against. So then to be playing in the CWHL against all those professional athletes that play for their respective countries, Team USA, Team Canada, my mind was blown, and I had to remind myself that I can play at this level and that I'm here for a reason. Just because playing with and against them was intimidating at first, but like I said, it was a complete honor. It made me a better person and player. So playing in the CWHL and the Boston Blades was, again, one of the best experiences for me. Also in the sense that I had gone through so many injuries and so much adversity that, to me, playing at that professional level was kind of reliving and remaking that college experience that I had missed just because I was out for so many years. So for me to be able to play at that professional level, it was just a dream come true.
What was it like playing with the World Chess Blades?
Worcester Blades, we rebranded. I played for the Boston Blades, I believe, 2 or 3 years, and then we rebranded to Worcester. So for that, it was a completely new experience. We were playing at a new rink. We were under a new management. And you know what? It was a new experience for me, and you just had to embrace it. And I began to really enjoy the fan base that we created out in Worcester, and the new management staff and team that we were a part of was so great. I mean, they just wanted the best for the athletes within the Worcester Blades organization. So again, it was another very cool experience that I was able to play through and live through at that point in my playing career.
What was it like, obviously still being in that particular organization, but in a new uniform with a new team?
It felt similar in certain ways, like as in we were still the Blades, and we had to remind ourselves of that, but we did rebrand to a new logo, which we were all pretty stoked about. It was a fresh looking logo and fresh looking facilities that we were playing at, and new staff, and we had some new teammates. So again, I just embraced all the new changes that came along with it, and learned something new everywhere we went with that team.
What was it like transitioning from obviously playing in the CWHL to the PWHPA?
That's a good question. So when the CWHL folded, we were all taken back and really shocked that that league had actually come to an end. But it came to an end for the right reason, in the sense that we all banded together, all 200 plus of us came together to fight for equality and fight for a more sustainable league. So to me, while nobody really knew what was going on at first, looking back, it was the right decision. And it wasn't much of a jump coming from the CWHL now playing in the PWHPA, because in reality, it was pretty much the same group of core players and staff members that transitioned over. So it was a super easy adjustment, and I'm definitely playing in the PWHPA still for the long term of women's hockey, and to pave that way for future women to be able to dream about playing professional hockey. So I'm stoked that we're part of the PWHPA now, and only good things to come.
What is it like, obviously getting to put on the jersey for New England and playing for New England in the PWHPA?
It was a really cool experience. That was another new team for us. So we transitioned over to the New Hampshire region. We had great facilities, great team. And with that, we also were able to play at some of the very best and coolest NHL arenas there is. And I can't thank the PWHPA for partnering with some of the NHL franchises, and the Blackhawks and New York Rangers were the first to step up. So we were able to play at Madison Square Garden. And so my whole experience playing in the New Hampshire region was, again, another experience that I'll never forget. Stepping on the ice at Madison Square Garden, representing the PWHPA, it was just something I'll never forget.
Of course, what was that like, stepping on the ice in Madison Square Garden? Did you grow up obviously loving the New York Knicks, and obviously seeing them play?
Yeah, so personally for me, I'm a California girl. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, so I'm a huge Lakers and Kings fan. But you obviously hear about how historic Madison Square Garden is, and it's one of the most famous arenas there is as far as sports venues and a concert venue, and one of the oldest arenas. So for me, that was the biggest stage that I had ever stepped foot on, playing wise. And so again, I just had to remember I'm there to play hockey, and I got to soak it all in, and for that alone, it was just one of the greatest experiences of my life to this day.
What was it like playing for 3 different PWHPA teams, the New England, New Hampshire, and now Minnesota?
Yeah, so this will be my first season with the Minnesota region, but I'm super stoked about that. I was a part of the Billie Jean King Women's Sports Foundation team last year, and that was unbelievable, being represented by such a staple and an icon in women's sports. And so for me, I just have to shift my mind to a different team, a different region, different coaches, different staff, and again, embrace the changes that are going to come along with playing in the Minnesota region. But I'm stoked to be a part of Team Adidas, and I'm looking forward to another great season in the PWHPA.
What is the process like? Obviously, whenever you went from 3 different teams, did you get traded? Were you a free agent and signed with them?
Yeah, so basically how it works is I was living on the East Coast. As I mentioned, I'm from Los Angeles, so moved back east to Boston for college and stayed back there to continue playing professionally. So I was located in the Boston area. So for that alone, it makes it super easy to be able to commit and sign with a Boston or the New Hampshire region, just because I'm local. So for me now, as I made my transition back to the West Coast, living in Los Angeles, I have signed with Minnesota, just for distance purposes, location purposes, and it's just the most realistic team for me to play on right now, as we're on strike fighting for equality.
Of course, what is it like, obviously, with the NWHL/PHF and also the PWHPA both having that contract where obviously you can easily switch teams and sign a 1-year contract?
I think it definitely, in the growing stages of the women's hockey game, it definitely provides the freedom for these players to obviously live in the most feasible and realistic location while still living the dream of playing professional hockey. As you may or may not be aware of, we all work full time on the side of playing professional hockey. So it's really not that easy to commit to a full-time job in the location that we're living, but also commit to playing professional hockey. So I think, unfortunately, that's the way that the structure has to be right now, while women's hockey is still growing and getting bigger, because in order for us to continue to play, we all have to work full time, and that's why it really is based on the location of where we're living and where we're working, and where and that location is going to work for us. Otherwise, it just wouldn't work out. And so, as a member of the PWHPA, that's one of the things we're fighting for, is a location where you can get drafted to, you can sign, and playing professional hockey becomes your full-time job. So you no longer have to worry about working a 9 to 5 on the side.
What's it like balancing, obviously, playing professionally and also having a job outside of hockey?
It's tough. It's like 2 full-time positions, completely fulfilling your life. And it's something that we've had to overcome, and just, I keep using embrace, because at this point you just have to embrace the experience, in the sense that there is going to be some challenges and adversity along the way, while we're fighting for a sustainable league. But you kind of just mentally have to shift your mindset from clocking out whenever you get off work, and then clocking back in when you step on the ice for practice or a game. And that's kind of just how your mind works, when you're doing a full-time job and you're playing professional hockey full-time as well. It's not easy by any means, but this is what we have to do right now. And this is why I feel so strongly in playing in the PWHPA, paving a way for those girls to dream about playing in a league where they can just worry about playing professionally and not worrying about clocking into a 9 to 5 and then clocking back into professional hockey.
What is a typical game day like for you in the PWHPA?
Yeah, so I can take you back to, let's just say, our game at Madison Square Garden. So this was during COVID. Obviously, we're still living in the pandemic, but we really had to kind of alter our pregame routine and rituals around the procedures and protocol for COVID. So with that being said, we all had to get negative COVID tests for our trip to New York. Once our negative COVID test came back, then we were on our way to New York, and we got to the hotel, and we all had to have our own hotel rooms. With that, we had to do some daily wellness checks in the morning, make sure we were all still feeling well. And then once we completed our wellness checks, we could go out to get our team breakfast or team lunch or whatever it was. And then we went back to our rooms. We couldn't really gather as a team at that point, just based off the safety and COVID procedures and protocols. So we went back to our rooms, and I personally did some stretching, foam rolling, couple ice baths and hot baths or whatever, and just got my mind ready for the game. And one of the biggest stages of my life that I was fortunate enough to play on. So I had to get my mind right for that. And then before game time, we had to go through another set of COVID tests to get into Madison Square Garden. So once we were waiting for that, we all sat in a room to get our negative tests. And once we got our negative tests back, then we were able to enter the arena. And then from there, it felt like a normal game day routine. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing to start, taping your stick, just enjoying the atmosphere in Madison Square Garden. And then we do a team warm up. And then again, we just get ready, you do your own thing. And there we are, hitting the ice for the first time at Madison Square Garden. And it was just an unbelievable experience. So that's pretty much a typical, I guess, game day routine. And unfortunately, it came during COVID, but we worked around it, and it was great.
What are some of your game day rituals and routines that you do?
For me, I wouldn't say I really have a ton of rituals and routines. I'm not too superstitious. I know some of my teammates are, but I do wear a beanie before every game, so I do have to put a beanie on. I don't know what that's about. It started in college. I chew gum before and on pregame warmups. Gum is in my mouth. I have a pregame coffee, so I always have a coffee before every game. I don't necessarily have to tape my stick before every game, so that might be an unpopular opinion, but that's something that I don't really care too much about. And then other than that, I'll talk to teammates. I'll listen to some music. If we're allowed on the ice, I'll go on the ice and stick handle. Or other than that, I'll just sit in the stands and check out the arena and whatnot. So I'm pretty laid back and pretty chill. Like I said, I don't really have too much going on before a game.
What is it like, obviously, seeing fans wear your jerseys and get to take photos and autographs of you?
It's that's a really cool experience. We definitely, as a collegiate hockey player, we had some regular fans that would come and sit in Matthews Arena and cheer for us every single game. But at this professional level, when you see your jersey being sold online and you have kids waiting outside for autographs, and that's what we play for, and it's so rewarding. And again, it's full circle coming back. We've worked our butts off to this point, and we're living that dream every single day when we get to lace up the skates and step on the ice. So to give back to the community and have our fans wear our jerseys and wait for autographs, it's really, really special.
Who are some players that you look up to in the hockey community?
That's a good question. So I grew up playing boys hockey with my twin brother, actually. I didn't switch to girls hockey till way late. And I would say growing up, I really had icons in the NHL mostly. So NHL players were kind of my role models at the time. I really liked Mike Camilleri. Thought he was just an all-time great player, and he was definitely somebody that I looked up to. I really liked Dustin Brown on the Kings. To me, he resembled that leader on and off the ice. And it wasn't really until I got switched over to the women's game where I started looking up to some of the female players. So I would say my biggest role model growing up was Jessica Kazumi. She's another local California girl who was in the national program. And so I idolized her, and she kind of took me under her wing, and we were on the ice almost every single day when I was growing up. And I kind of altered my diet and eating habits to what she was doing. So I would say she was somebody I really looked up to growing up in Southern California. In addition to Angela Ruggiero, another California girl that skated at the same rink that Jessica and I skated at, playing boys hockey. So those two are definitely, I would say, my two biggest role models on the women's side. And then to this day, I mean, I've skated with some of the best players in the world, and Kendall Coyne, being my teammate at Northeastern, was such a cool experience to be able to call her my teammate and friend. And she made me a better person on and off the ice, just how she trained every single day and her commitment and dedication to the game. So even to this day, you look around you in the locker room, and they become your role models and make you better on and off the ice every single day.
What's it like, obviously, seeing the success that Kayle Ferguson has had since, obviously, y'all were playing together with the Boston Blades?
Oh, it's great. I mean, just because we play in different leagues doesn't mean anything. I mean, she's a star for the Pride in the NWHL, and I always knew she would be, considering how she was as a defenseman at BU. So, I mean, she's an unbelievable player, and I respect her for still competing every single day and growing the game in the NWHL, just like we're growing the game in the PWHPA. So as women's hockey players, you kind of have to have each other's backs as we're growing a sport for the future of women's hockey.
What advice would you give college hockey players looking to play college hockey?
I would say for those that have goals to play at the collegiate level, don't ever give up. Turn your dreams into reality, and that comes with hard work and dedication and motivation to succeed every single day. You also have to make sure you're having fun with it. So if something's going on and you're not enjoying it anymore, then you might have to change something up, take a step back, and figure out what that is that's not making you happy anymore. At the end of the day, you're playing a sport for fun and because you love the game. So when it becomes something that you don't love anymore, there's an issue with that, and you just got to make a change. But in addition to that, I think it's also important to embrace the adversity that comes your way and the challenges that come your way, because those are only going to make you stronger in the end, on and off the ice.
What advice would you give professional hockey players looking to play either in the NWHL/PHF or the PWHPA?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it just kind of depends on quite a few factors. I have a ton of friends that still play in the NWHL, or the new branded league, as you would say, and there's nothing wrong with that. So personally, for me, for my work schedule and for the location that I was living in, and for my goal of growing the game for the future of women's hockey, the PWHPA is kind of where my journey led me to. But I would say for anybody looking to choose which league to play in, just kind of do some research, see which looks best for you and what works for your location, for your work life. I mean, it's all about the balance at that point, right? Like, is it feasible to play or to travel X amount of miles to play the game, or whatever it looks like, whatever time you get off work? Is it feasible to make practice? What time's practice in the NWHL versus what time's practice in the PWHPA? So there's so many different little factors to consider. And again, there's nothing wrong with playing in either league. I think it's just what suits your lifestyle more.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
Yeah, so I'm on social media. I'm on all platforms. Instagram, Twitter are the same handle at Chelley, CHELLY _Bean, BEAN 24. So that's Instagram and Twitter. And then I think I have a Facebook page too. I think it's just Chelsey Goldberg. But yeah, find me on social media, say hi. If you can relate at all to my journey as far as injuries or not knowing if you want to play professional hockey or whatever it may be, or you just want to say hi, give me a shout. I'll respond back to you.
Thank you again, Chelsey Goldberg, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the PWHPA.
Thanks so much, Brandon. I appreciate it.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Chelsey Goldberg, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.